Go ahead.
I don't know what to say. Okay, hi. Anyone who's watching, it's my first video, so it might be a little awkward. Oh, it's definitely gonna be awkward. But I thought I usually don't rate books because I overthink it and I end up not rating them. So my Goodreads is basically empty. And I thought we can do something fun and rate the 2021 releases that I read together.
I can see that.
First, we're going to talk about Look a Woman Missing. It's really fast paced, it's long, but it's really good. I liked it. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-ish out of 5 because it didn't stick with me. And okay, I should probably explain what's it about. So it's about these 3 girls who went missing in 3 different ways, and now there's this girl who escaped from a basement and she's like, yeah, I'm this girl who went missing years ago. And then we are going through where we find out what happened to her and what happened to these other 2 women in this small town. The next one is Maidens, and I hated the silent patient. Like, I can't explain it. It was annoying. The main character did not make sense. But the Maidens I actually liked, mostly because I like dark academia. And the Maidens is about this girl, I forgot her name, Mariana, I think. And her niece Zoe tells her about these murders that are happening at her university, and she's just like, yeah, I'm going to investigate it, even though she's a therapist and not a detective. But I like those where like normal people investigate cases. I don't find detective point of views that interesting, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5-ish. I think you can give half a star on Storygraph, so 3.5 for the Maidens. The next book we're going to talk about is The Family Tree, and I saw it got a lot of buzz when it was before it released. So, and I heard the description, I wanted to pick it up. It's about this girl who through ancestry.com finds out that her family is not her family, and then she like meets this other family. She meets her real biological family, and then a police detective comes knocking at her door, and and they're like, yeah, I think you are related to a serial killer. So she starts investigating the family that she just found out she has. It was actually really good. Surprisingly, there was a plot twist that I did not see coming, that was not very plausible. The ending did not make sense to me. I can see why no one really talked about it after it was released, but it was a fun ride, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5. The next book is I Don't Forgive You. It's a domestic thriller. I completely forgot what's it about, but what I remember is really liking it. I read it in like 3 hours. It was really fun. It was fast-paced. It gave me the Woman in the Window vibes. I think it was about this lady with her family who moves into a new neighborhood, and then something weird happens, and people are like, I know you, and she's like, no, you don't know me. I don't know any of you. But then someone dies and she gets framed for the murder somehow, and then she has to find out who actually killed the person. It was a fun ride. That's all I remember. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 only because it did not stick with me. I probably should have rated them earlier. Like, I feel like I would rate a lot of books higher. Like, I would give it a 4.5 just because I finished it in a day. But did I really enjoy the book, or was I just sucked into the world? someone explain it to me. Like, how do you rate books? Tell me how to rate books. Someone teach me to rate books. Like, reading I can do. I enjoy reading. But rating books is so hard. Like, I cannot. Anyway, the next book is The Disappearing Act. The Disappearing Act is about this woman who flies to LA for an audition, and at the audition she meets this girl who gives her car keys and wallet and everything, and then she just disappeared, and our main character has to find out what happened to the girl. And then there are people around her who are trying to gaslight her into thinking that this another girl is the girl she met at the audition, and then it goes like, and classic mystery thriller fashion, she tries to find out who's the girl, what happened to her, and it was fun. It was I read it in 2 hours, no joke. It was really fast paced, and I remember really liking it. When I can't even remember when I read it, but I remember really liking it, so I'm gonna give it a 4. The Other Black Girl is about Nella, who works at a publishing company. Then she starts getting letters about telling her to leave her job. And then there's this other girl, the other black girl, who is being really nice to everyone, but something doesn't feel right about her. And Nella like tries to find out about the other black girl in her office, and that it's very slow, but I enjoy slow books. I enjoy books. I enjoy character driven stories, and I don't mind if a book makes me wait 13 hours for a plot to develop. But I guess I can see why a lot of people gave it low ratings, because it was marketed as a thriller, but it is not a thriller because it's not very thrilling. It's very slow burn, mystery, suspense kind of a book. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 4. Okay, the next book is The Hunting Wives, and I was not a fan. But I can't tell you that why. I can't explain you because it's a spoiler. I mean, unless I do a spoiler section, like, let me know. All I'm gonna say is there were a few scenes that made me really uncomfortable because there were like really young people involved with like 40-year-olds, and that just made me not like it as much. Anyway, the book is about Sophie, who moves to a new town, and she's from the city, but when she gets to the new town she sees Margot, and she gets instantly obsessed with Margot. And Margot is kind of like Regina George, and she has a clique, and Sophie is trying to join her clique because she's obsessed with Margot, and she watches her, stalks her, tries to become friends with her friends, goes to parties she's invited to, and then there's murder. The main girl gets involved in the murder somehow, and then that's where the story takes off. I'm gonna give this a 2.5, mostly because of the scenes that did not vibe with me. But other than that, it was like a fun ride, like that. I mean, most of the books I read were fun, but did I objectively like them? That is the question. If I want to be able to rate books on my enjoyment of the books, but then I take a week, and then when the excitement has worn off, I'm like, okay, I did not enjoy it as much. I just had fun reading it because it was fast paced, it was fun. Anyway, The Hunting Wives was one of those books where I was really into it while I was reading it, but then it ended and I was like, was not a fan. So this is a 2.5 for me. The next book is Not a Happy Family. It's about this couple who gets murdered and their children are all suspects, and I enjoyed it. It was a whodunit. I love whodunits. I love when there is a specific set of suspects and you suspect every one of them because everyone had a motive. It gave me it kind of gave me the Lucy Foley, what's it called, the guest list. It gave me the guest list vibes, where the person who was murdered was hated by everyone, so anyone could have done it. But Shari Lapena does this thing where she kind of like cheats while writing the book. So since I've read, like, this is my second book by her, and I kind of figured out who it was just by her writing style. It was fast-paced, it was fun, it was a solid 3.5. The next book is For Your Own Good, and this was my favorite Samantha Downing book. And I don't like Samantha Downing. Her writing is not my thing. I hated My Lovely Wife. I DNF'd her second book, which is what? He Done It? She did it? He made me do it? He started it. That was a lot of options I went through. Anyway, For Your Own Good is about this teacher who tries to teach his students a lesson, and things go wrong and someone dies, and he tries to fix it, but he makes it worse. And it was really fun. This is a 4.5 star for me. It was amazing. It was really good. I love when characters are like bad and make bad decisions, but you're in their heads, you can see that they don't know how they're making all the bad choices. It was so fun though. It was like, if you want a wild ride, pick this one up. The next book is The Sinful Lives of Trophy Wives. But this was talked about a lot on before it came out, but after it came out, no one really talked about it much, and I think Gabby Reed's DNF'd the book, but I actually enjoyed it. It's about this woman who moves to this new town, and her husband is much older than her, so everyone in the neighborhood is judging her. And then she meets these two women. They become friends, but the main character has an ulterior motive, and then murder happens, stuff goes down. It was fun. It's a solid 3 stars. I don't remember much about it, but there was like this one end scene where everything was tied up with a bow, and I'm like, how did you forgive this person for doing this horrible thing to you? The next book is The Therapist, which it's about this girl who moves into this apartment, and then she finds out the girl who was living there before was murdered, and she starts investigating the murder of someone she does not know, which is one of my favorite trope ever. I love it when the main character tries to solve a cold case that has nothing to do with her. She's just fascinated by the case and she wants to find out who did it. But this one did not work for me because of some of the things the main character did, some of the things that the main character did was really dumb, like extremely dumb. But it was fun. I liked the mystery. I liked where it went. I did not like the amount of dumb mistakes the main character made, but what can you do? It's a 3.5 for me, which is fun, but not the best. Next book is Such a Quiet Place by Miranda, and I feel like everyone who likes her books usually hated this book, but I really liked it. It was really slow moving. There was a suspense in the, it was suspenseful. There was a mystery in the background. I liked the neighborhood. There was a morally gray character. The main character did not really do much. She didn't really add much to the story. I really liked the other girl who was framed for the murder. Anyway, this is about this girl who lives in a neighborhood, and her friend was convicted of murder, but then she was recently released from jail because the policeman who, the detective who solved the case made a few mistakes, so she got out, but now she's trying to prove that she's innocent, and the main character really truly believes that her friend murdered the people, and then and some things happen, chaos ensues, people die. I liked it. I will give it a solid, I would give it a 4 stars. I enjoyed my time with this book, even though it was slow. It has a good suspense building in the background. I enjoyed the ending. It was really unique. I don't think I have ever read a book with the ending it had. Like that's all I'm gonna say. The next book is The Almost Wife. And The Almost Wife is by this Canadian author, and it's about this girl who has a stepdaughter, and her stepdaughter's mom, like actual mom, is stalking her stepdaughter, and her husband told her keep her safe, to keep my daughter safe from my ex-wife, and so the main character takes her stepdaughter to this town and the stepdaughter runs away from the car. And this book is basically just them, the main character's high school boyfriend and the mother trying to find the girl in a forest. It was fast-paced. It was mostly action. The Almost Wife gave me No Exit vibes. No Exit by Taylor Adams vibes. It was fun. I don't enjoy books that's mostly thrilling. I enjoy a mystery aspect to my mystery thrillers. This was more of a thriller than a mystery. And so this is gonna get a 3 from me, because it's not the book's fault that it was marketed as mystery thriller, even though there was no mystery in it. The next book is Stranger in the Mirror. Okay, oh my god. This is getting a 2-star from me because there was so much that irked me about this book. Like, this does not make sense for one. There are a few tropes that I hate. Okay, I'm gonna explain what it's about first. It's about this girl who lost her memory, and she's engaged to this guy, and there's this other POV from her husband, from the girl's husband, and the girl's husband sees the engagement announcement in the newspaper and comes to take his wife back, and that's the book. And the girl is trying to remember things, but she can't remember things, and there's a lot of gaslighting in this book. Okay, I know people hate the amnesia trope, but I actually like it. I don't mind it. But this was so implausible. Like, the things that were done to the main characters were firstly bad, but secondly, I don't think that is realistic at all. I mean, I don't think books should be realistic, but it was too over the top. Okay, if you enjoy over the top books with over the top crazy plot twists, you might enjoy it. And I know a lot of people who enjoyed this book. I sadly was not one of them. There's this new trope that Alex Michaelides started. That is one of my least favorite tropes in mystery thrillers right now, which I can talk about without giving spoilers for The Silent Patient and for this book as well. So I might save that for another video if I end up making another video. Okay.
Don't add that.
I mean, I might not even upload this, so.
Yeah, you will.
I have to come up with a channel name first.
Yeah.
Okay.
House that reads.
Okay, the next book is Kill All Your Darlings by David Bell. And I love this book. It had mystery in it, thrilling parts in it. The mystery part took majority of the book. There was this, one of my favorite plots that I recently discovered was when one of the mentors steal something from their mentees. That is, for some reason, one of my favorite thriller tropes right now. And it's about this professor who has this amazing manuscript from his graduate student, but the graduate student disappeared. So the professor passed this manuscript as a book that he wrote himself, and then he becomes a best-selling author. And then his student comes back, and there are things that are happening around the university that the main character has to investigate. This was a solid 4.5 stars. I loved it. It was fun. It had a good amount of suspense to it as well. It was a build-up. Yeah. Next book. Just Married by Keirsten Modglin, I think. Anyway, I saw this book was so popular amongst romance readers, and everyone, it was like Verity level of popular amongst romance readers, and everyone told me to read it, that I would love it, but I did not like it. It was not good. It's about this husband and wife who go to a remote cabin together, and someone is trying to kill them, and it was not. There was so many reasons why I hated this book. This was definitely a 2 stars. I feel like the writer tried to cheat us by not giving us all the information, but that made it weird because it was in first person. Like, how can you not give us the information if it's in first person? As at least write it in third person. It was first person dual POV from the husband and the wife, and so how did she think it would be a good idea to keep this big secret when it's in first person? Anyway, 2 stars, did not like it. Next. The next is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Okay, so I don't want to give this book a 4 star because there was a few things that like bothered me about it, but I had so much fun reading it. My friend and I buddy read it, and we both finished it in 3 hours, and it was such a fun ride, and it was all in one day. It was very claustrophobic. There was I get why it was so over the top, because it was okay, no spoilers, that's spoilers. I kind of get why it had to be so over the top, but if you're not into over the top books, don't pick it up. There was some not so great things about it as well, so it's not getting a 4.5 stars from me, but I had so much fun reading it, and I had so much fun buddy reading it, and I don't think I can separate my enjoyment of the book and my enjoyment of it reading it with a friend who loved this book. 4 stars. Next. Okay, the next is 2 books. It's about this girl who is did my summaries make sense?
Yeah, they make sense.
Okay, so Survive the Night is about this girl who it's in the 90s. It's set in the 90s, and she goes to the bulletin board at her university and finds this driver who's gonna drive her to her town because her roommate was recently murdered by the campus serial killer. And as she is going, she's in this car with this guy who knows about the murders that no one should know about, and she starts thinking that the guy she's with is the campus serial killer. And that's the story, and we find out, and it's thrilling. It's more thriller than a mystery, but I had fun. Next, okay, the next two are, I did not like any of them. These two are the plane crash terrorist attack-ish books, the two that came out this year. Okay, the hostage is about this flight attendant, and she realizes that terrorists are targeting this plane, and she has to figure out who the terrorist is. It's a locked room thriller. She suspects everyone. And the next one is Falling, which is about this pilot whose family was kidnapped, and he has to crash the plane, or else his family would be killed. I did not like either of these. Yes, they were fast-paced. Yes, they were locked rooms. Yes, they had a few of my favorite tropes like whodunit and claustrophobic feelings, but I cannot explain why I don't like. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think I'm into airplane hostage crash the flight kind of books. So I will not be picking any more books with this trope. And so both of these get 2.5 from me. I mean, I know a lot of people enjoyed these books because of how fast-paced they were and how fun they were. I mean, it's about the terrorist attacks, so they're really fun. Anyway, how thrilling they were. And I am done for today. That was a lot.